Everyone, welcome back to another video. So, should you start Deliveroo? I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, and I'm going to explain obviously the pros and the cons to joining Deliveroo. So stay tuned, and if you are interested in seeing any more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and the notification button, and give this video a like if you like this video as well. So should you start Deliveroo? Personally, I obviously thought about this at the time, and for me it was a no-brainer. If you love cycling, if you love getting out in the outdoors, meeting people, you know, going on like almost like little adventures, like each day was like a new adventure, like where am I going to go today? What am I going to see today? Who am I going to meet today? It was almost like there was no 2 days that were the same, you know. So much different variety, and some days I'd go to so many different restaurants and I'd meet so many different people and I'd talk to people, and you know, sometimes I'd talk to Deliveroo riders, sometimes I'd talk to people in the restaurants, sometimes customers would just come and start talking to me, you know, things like that, especially if you make yourself approachable, which obviously is just a body language thing. If you're there like closed off with your arms crossed, people aren't going to approach you, but if you sit there, you stand there and you're quite open, people are going to talk to you. I remember once I was sitting there and I was munching on a potato, and this girl from the restaurant came up to me and sat down, and she says, "Oh, you're eating a potato." She says, "That's weird." And I says, "Why?" I says, "You eat potato at home?" I says, "I love to eat potatoes and ride with them, you know, sort of ride around with them. It's good for you. I kept them in my jersey pocket, whatever." So, should you join Deliveroo? I would say if you love cycling and you love having an adventure, and you know, you don't like, either you've got a full-time job and you want to do it maybe on a Friday night, or maybe you have Tuesdays off, for example, and you want to just get out there on your bike on a Tuesday to earn a bit of extra cash, or maybe you want to get out there on a Saturday and earn some extra cash. It's perfect. It really is. I'm not saying you're going to become like rich or a millionaire or anything like that, but for sure you can easily earn between 10 and 20 pounds per hour on average. I certainly almost had like almost no hours where I didn't at least earn 10 pounds per hour. So every hour, I mean, this might sound like nothing to you, 10 pounds per hour. You might be a lawyer and earning 50 pounds per hour. I don't know whatever lawyers earn, right? But if you're the typical kind of guy, blue collar or office worker, £10 to £20, I think that's pretty good, right? It might even be different in different parts. Like it might be higher in London, for example. Maybe you earn 25 or £30 an hour. I don't know. But for certainly in my area in Nottingham, I could easily earn £20 an hour, and most of the time on average, I would be earning £15 per hour, which I think was a pretty good average. And if I worked 20 hours that week, that's, I'm shit at maths, but it's £300, right? So essentially that's pretty good money. It's certainly not to be sniffed at, especially for riding your bike, keeping fit. You're not paying for a gym membership, and you're getting out there. Well, you're not necessarily breathing in fresh air because you're in the city, but you get my point. You're out there, you're meeting people, you're getting a bit of vitamin D. Even if you're living in England, it still seeps through the clouds, things like that. So cons for working for Deliveroo. Obviously, especially in England, the weather. It can be rainy. The area that I was in, Nottingham, had tram tracks and they got very slippy. For a start, you always had to go diagonal on them anyway, but then if you were carrying some speed, I actually slipped down one of the steep down hills, merging across the tracks. I was careful, I was going pretty slow and I was going carefully across the tracks, and my front wheel just skidded out. And I was even on a mountain bike as well, so it wasn't like, oh, I was on a skinny road bike or anything. So yeah, just obviously cons are the weather. Essentially the weather really in England. If you're going to ride throughout the winter, you can expect ice, snow, rain, and even in the summer in England you can expect rain. So if you're someone who is a bit of a fair weather rider, then you're not really gonna get much money made. You've got to be kind of thick-skinned if you want to get out there and earn. So if you can't ride in wet weather, like it's kind of like a rule for you, like, oh, I can never ride in wet weather, don't do Deliveroo. I'm not saying it's going to rain every day, and obviously you can cancel sessions and things like that if you think, oh, this is shit, but you are going to get penalised for that if you cancel them within 24 hours notice and things. So yeah, don't, if the weather's really going to affect you, don't do Deliveroo. But if you can put up with wet weather, I'm not saying you enjoy it, but if you can put up with it, then yeah, it could be for you. Being your own boss, that's a serious pro, right? I know, of course, you go to the restaurant and yes, you've got to deliver it to the customer, but you don't have some boss, you know, coming into your cubicle, breathing down your neck, asking you where the spreadsheets are, asking you have you done the photocopies yet, whatever. You haven't got any of that crap. You've got no one expecting anything of you. At the end of the day, you're dealing with a machine. It's kind of like a machine, Deliveroo is. So all you've got is a little app on your phone. Now that isn't nagging you, that isn't telling you what to do, that's not condescending you. You know, so if you're the kind of character who likes being their own boss, doesn't like someone breathing down the neck, kind of wants to like turn up, do their own hours, do it their own way. There's no real like official way to do Deliveroo. You know, you can kind of turn up and, you know, you can even I don't know if you get caught at this, but you can even run around doing it. You don't even have to do it on a bike. You know, I've seen people doing it on electric scooters. You know, those ones that are always getting banned and things like that. I've seen people doing it on that. I've even seen people do it on roller skates. So essentially, you can turn up, you're your own boss, you got no one breathing down your neck. And that aspect is perfect. And yeah, like I said, the pay's well, and it's also a part-time job that you can go full-time if you want, but you can also just keep it part-time. So essentially, it's a side gig that you can do as much or as little as you want. Obviously, some areas people aren't getting hours. There's a big thing about that. But then, of course, if you just want a few hours, then that's fine. Cons, they do tend to prefer you to work weekends, which if you're working like 60 hours a week and you know you literally think, right, I'm going to see my family every weekend, and Deliveroo are expecting you to do weekend and not giving you any hours if you don't, then you're kind of screwed, right? So yeah, it's probably not for you. But yeah, should you start Deliveroo? In my opinion, if you can be safe on the roads, you've got a decent bike, and you know you've got the kind of thick skinness to adapt and improvise in any situation, then I'd say go for it. So if this video has been helpful for you, give this video a like, subscribe for more content like this, and leave a comment below if you have any questions for me, and I'll see you soon.